At 6 in the morning, while the lake was nothing but mist and quiet water, I heard a scream that would end up ripping open 18 months of chaos. "Get off this dock right now!" Karen Brooks shrieked, our HOA president, the self-appointed queen of Willow Creek, while 6 strangers on jet skis tore across my private shoreline like they owned the place. I had no idea yet that the video I recorded that morning would bring down not just Karen, but an entire network of corruption wrapped in HOA letterhead and fake authority. And all of it started because I just wanted to fish in peace. I'm Robert Hamilton. I moved to Willow Creek after retiring from 20 years of construction dispute work. Yeah, thrilling career, I know. I came here because the lake was supposed to be quiet, predictable, peaceful, and honestly, for a long time it was. I had my morning routine down to muscle memory coffee steaming on the dock rail tackle box, arranged by habit phone fully charged next to me because old work habits die hard. You document everything. But peace, as I learned, is fragile. And sometimes it ends with the roar of 3 jet skis ripping through a clearly marked no-wake zone like they were auditioning for a demolition derby. These guys came screaming around the bend, shouting, laughing, whipping the water into oily foam. One of them had Lake Life Lux plastered across his life jacket, a real I'm the main character type. They didn't slow down, didn't care about my signs, or the fact that they were seconds away from crashing into my dock. They just veered straight at me, killed their engines, and hopped off like this place had been their family property for generations. "This is private property," I said, setting down my mug, trying to keep my voice calm. "Move along." The lead rider grinned and revved his engine just to spray my fishing gear with exhaust. "The HOA lady said we can use any dock we want, old man. Take it up with her." And that was the moment something in me snapped. 3 years of Karen's petty violations. My mailbox was too rustic, my porch light was too warm, my truck was too functional, looking all of it crystallized into clarity. I pulled out my phone, hit record, and said, "I'm Robert Hamilton. This is my dock. You are trespassing." They didn't care. They tied off their jet skis. They dug through my tackle box. One of them, some blonde influencer type, propped her phone up and started live streaming about entitled homeowners gatekeeping public spaces. That was when I started untying their ropes one by one. "You can't touch our equipment," the lead rider barked. "Watch me," I said. And I meant it. Then came the moment everyone in this community still talks about. The white speedboat, the thunderous engine, and Karen, perfect hair business blazer fury on her face, leaping onto my dock like she was making a superhero landing. "Bob," she screeched, "what the heck do you think you're doing to my guests?" I held up my deed like it was a shield. "They're trespassing, Karen. The HOA has authority over community water access," she snapped. "I make the rules here." Right there, caught in full HD on my phone. Karen finally said the thing she'd been implying for 3 years, that she believed she was above our property lines, above the law, above everything. And then came the good part. Karen decided to put on a performance. She pulled out her phone, dialed a number, and loudly declared, "Officer Miller, we need immediate response for a homeowner interfering with a permitted community event." She even nodded and pretended to be listening despite the fact that there was absolutely no one on the other end. No dispatch tone, no questions, nothing. She was improvising like a high schooler in a bad theater class. But her guests didn't look impressed. The influencer lowered her phone. The Davidson brothers exchanged side-eye. Even the commissioner's wife looked like she wanted to evaporate into the lake. And when they finally left after nearly ruining the water with fuel and trash, I called the sheriff's office myself. There was no Officer Miller. There had never been an Officer Miller. Karen had faked the whole thing. That was the moment everything began to spiral. Within 2 hours, Karen had posted an edited video framing me as an aggressive homeowner who threatened community guests. She cut out every part that mattered. She made my calm voice sound unhinged. She painted herself as some kind of heroic protector of community values. The influencer posted tearfully to her 89,000 followers about toxic residents who ruin public fun. Jet ski guy threatened legal action. The Davidson brothers released a vague statement about reevaluating their investment plans due to hostile locals. My phone lit up with comments. Half the community was calling me a menace. The other half whispered, "Finally, someone caught her." But in the middle of all that noise, I started doubting myself. I sat at my kitchen table replaying the morning again and again. Maybe I had been too harsh. Maybe I shouldn't have grabbed their ropes. Maybe this whole thing could have been avoided if I had just walked away. I'm not ashamed to say I almost deleted the videos, almost let Karen win again. Then everything changed when Julia Stevenson, our HOA treasurer, called me. "Bob," she said, voice shaking, "Karen's lying. We never approved any event. No permits. Nothing. And I'm seeing irregularities in the accounts." That word irregularities hit me harder than any insult Karen could have thrown. Next came Tom Jenkins, the new neighbor paralegal, sharp as a knife. He had witnessed the entire incident from his backyard. He laid it out plain. Using HOA authority for personal business is fraud. Selling exclusive access to community property is false advertising. If she's been collecting money, that's tax evasion. And if she's been faking violations against you, that's retaliation. Then the environmental blow came. Dr. Elizabeth Carter, who works for the State Environmental Agency, tested the water near my dock. The results were bad, really bad. Karen's little VIP party had dumped enough fuel into the lake to trigger federal wetland protection laws. We weren't just dealing with HOA drama anymore. This was potential federal crime. But if all of that was shocking, the next thing nearly broke me. A text popped up on my phone. "Stop digging into Karen's business or your own HOA violations will surface." I hadn't violated a single rule in 3 years, not one. That message meant someone planned to fabricate evidence. That's when I hit bottom. I felt like I was losing my community, my peace, maybe even my home. I considered dropping everything, just letting Karen do whatever she wanted and going back to fishing in silence. But Julia called again. "Bob, this isn't just about you anymore. She's been draining HOA funds, faking signatures, using HOA letterhead for her business." And something settled in me. A very old familiar resolve from my construction dispute days. If Karen wanted a fight, she'd pick the wrong retiree. The next night, Karen held an emergency HOA meeting, her grand stage, to humiliate me. The room was packed, the air thick with anticipation. She stood at the podium, guests behind her like backup dancers, presenting her slick PowerPoint titled, "Protecting Community Values Against Individual Entitlement." Her video was edited like a political attack ad. Dramatic music, selective clips, me untying ropes frozen in slow motion like I was detonating explosives. "Mr. Hamilton," she proclaimed, dramatically endangered guests and disrupted authorized community activities. I stood up, slowly, calmly. "Karen," I asked, "could you share the permit number for yesterday's authorized activity?" She froze. "That's irrelevant." "It's very relevant," I said, "because the county confirmed none exist." Then Julia rose. "The board never approved any events. And I found $23,400 in unreported income Karen collected using HOA facilities." The room erupted. Tom stood next. "By the way, Karen's fake police call constitutes impersonation of law enforcement, and the environmental damage from the jet skis qualifies as a federal offense." You could hear Karen's mask cracking. Then I plugged my laptop into the projector. "Since we're discussing evidence, I said I'd like everyone to see something." Up on the screen played footage from 6 months earlier, Karen accepting a cash envelope from a wedding planner at the lake. Her whispering, "No paperwork, exclusive access, just cash." Pandemonium. Karen shrieked, "This is illegal surveillance." He stalked me. But Julia calmly countered, "The timestamp shows you were supposed to be at a board meeting, Karen." Karen lost it. Full meltdown. She climbed onto a chair and screamed at me, voice cracking, face red, pointing like a deranged prophet. "He ruined me. He destroyed everything I built. I built this community. I made us important. You're all ungrateful." People backed away. Her guests edged toward the exit. The influencer whispered, "Karen, you told us this was legal." Then the vote happened. 43 residents voted to remove her immediately. 4 abstained. 0 supported her. Karen stormed for the exit, and that's when I delivered the line that ended her career. "Karen, quitting won't stop the federal investigation. The IRS and EPA already have everything." She stopped in place, shoulders stiff, before walking out like she'd aged 20 years. And that's where the story ends. Not with celebration, not with relief, not even with satisfaction. Just the moment Karen understood the truth, her power was gone. Her lies were exposed, and justice had finally caught up. Sometimes the smallest stand, a dock, a camera, a single morning can topple the biggest bully in the room.